If there's one thing I've learned in my years of being a litigator, trial lawyer, it's this. Facts are neutral. Facts are subject to change. Meaning actually comes from our interpretation. Two attorneys can stand in a courtroom, argue vigorously for opposite realities, and both will be compelling because perspective is powerful. And what I learned in the courtroom turned out to be just as powerful as a transformational coach. My clients, they're high achievers, big builders, people with big visions, big responsibilities, and humongous hearts. They've built extraordinary lives for themselves and for the institutions that they work for by showing up, performing, and delivering. But more and more, as they age, as they mature as a leader, they are finding that grinding harder is no longer going to get them anywhere. They are finding and listening to a new voice, something that's popping up inside of them, a kind of deep knowing that is unfamiliar and can be a little bit scary. They've resisted it for years, but their mind starts to drift and they start to wonder, I wonder if I allowed myself more joy, if I allowed myself more fun, more love, heck, if I allowed myself more rest, could I still achieve? Could I still meet my goals? Could I still be the woman, the person I know myself to be? And there's something powerful when we get to that place where we're going, I wonder. That nudge, that beginning, that little spark, that's the rise. That's the part of us that's trying to come out, to sparkle, to shine. And today we're going to look at a mindset shift, the essence of evidence-based psychology and emotional empowerment. It's the bridge between what your brain understands and what your body has been craving. And your body never lies. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what Dr. Benjamin Hardy calls the gap and the gain, how we layer it into something I like to just call the sparkle, that sense of joy, permission, fulfillment, that inner brightness that lives inside of us, that is actually the fuel behind these high-level, effective leaders. By the end of this episode, you're going to walk away with some simple reflection processes to help you evaluate how you've been progressing, how to meet yourself, and how to prepare for the new year ahead. Let's get it going. So, perspective, that's a skill. And it's the thing that's going to shape our reality. In law, I know that perspective can change an entire case. And the same is true in life. Perspective can help you have greater well-being. There were times, I had a year where every single case I had was recorded on videotape. And because I was defense counsel, I was representing the person who was accused of having done something that the prosecutor purported to have recorded on videotape. And every one of those cases, 5 cases back to back on videotape that the prosecutor believed was a slam dunk, every one of those cases I won. And how is that possible? Because perspective is power. And while we can have a picture, we can have a film, it doesn't tell you what it means. And the parties that are involved in the incident, they're the only ones that can give you the facts behind the picture. And so if a picture is worth 1,000 words, those words are the words that give the meaning. And meaning is what it's all about. So as we are going through life, experiencing the different elements of our life, it's how we're interpreting it. What is the meaning we're putting on it? And because we have this negativity bias, we have to train ourselves to say, is there another way to look at this? It's not pretending that everything is fine. It's about opening a door to possible other interpretations that empower rather than drain. High achievers often default to the most critical way of looking at things because we want to protect ourselves from negativity, from harm. But because we're conditioned to scan the horizon for what needs improvement, we're always kind of operating for survival mode until we decide no, no more. And so we want to turn off that negativity bias. And that requires us to build an awareness, build the ability to notice and to see it. Perspective is the thing that can be a pattern interrupt. And it's the first step to rising. As I want us all to rise and all to shine, we want to look for where are the opportunities for me to rise? Where is there a learning, another way to look at this? Is there some point that could bring about a bit of sparkle? So the truth is, how we see things affect how we interpret things and how we experience it in our body. And so when I talk about mindset, I talk about it because it's important. It's grounded in science. Now, I love data and I don't mind a bit of magic, a little miracle. And they both work hand in hand. Researchers studying a group of nuns found that the tone that these newly minted nuns wrote letters to themselves in their 20s predicted their actual lifespans decades later. The more positive and upbeat they were in thinking about their prospective life, what they expected their life to be about, and they expected to live out, the longer they lived, sometimes as long as a whole decade, 10 additional years of life by nothing more than having a positive mindset. There was another study that studied hotel workers, and these were people who were involved in the daily task of preparing rooms for the next guest. And half of these people were told that what you are doing, being a hotel employee, being a hotel worker, that counts as exercise. And the work you are doing could really enhance your life. You don't have to go to the gym because what you're doing here today in your work is actually enhancing your health. And they told half the group it was enhancing their health. And with this experiment, they told the other half nothing. They just let them continue to do the work that they had been doing. And after 4 weeks, the ones that had been told that their work was actually helpful, that it was a form of exercise, that it would help them improve their life, those people found with testing that they'd had an improvement in their health. While the people who were told nothing, they didn't see any change in their physiology. So mindset is not fluff. It's actually scientifically based to impact how you feel, and how you feel can impact the life that you are living and the quality of life that you are living. So how you feel, going toward the sparkle, it can change your life. Going toward what feels expansive, what feels like joy, that looks like it might be a little bit of fun, that is going to awaken a sense of possibility, a sense of joy. Inner brightness amplifies your capacity for greater creativity and for greater emotional stamina. It's good for you, and science backs it up. It's what Dr. Hardy would call emphasizing the gain, and your body experiences it as feeling like the glow, the sparkle, going toward the thing that lights you up. We need both, my dear friends. We need both. We need a mindset that allows us to think well, to think positively, to think that I am benefiting from the activities that I engage in. So last week we talked about focusing our attention not on the horizon, but on how far we've come, all the progress that we are making. So we're not measuring ourselves by the horizon, what the goal is, an idealized picture. But in fact, if we do that, the horizon is always moving. The gain, if we measure ourselves by the gain, how far we have come, then we're going to look backwards and look at where did I start and what have I gained since I started. Gain thinking is stabilizing. It grounds our nervous system. And when we ground our nervous system, that's how we can move forward, how you can feel good in this moment to give you the power to move to the next moment rather than getting stuck in doubt, worry, fear, anxiety. So I want to invite you to look at the circumstances of your life and say to yourself, well, which one feels most empowering? Is there another way to look at this? Mine your situations for good. Go in there looking for the good because those thoughts are the ones that are going to help you to rise. The perspective that's going to help you get to your North Star, a glowing future. Sparkle is what gives you joy, light, love, lightness, permission to keep going as a high achiever, to see yourself as a successful person. And it's what we secretly crave. We want more life. We can't apologize for wanting more. It is normal. It is part of being part of an expansive universe. It is natural for us to want more. So we want to give ourselves the nutritional nourishment, the emotional nourishment of being able to look and see how far we've come and go toward the thing that we would love even more of by measuring the progress that we've made. You can't get there by thinking your way to it. You have to feel your way to it. You have to tap into the vitality that is already in you. The gain, noticing how far you come, that's going to help you rise. And the sparkle of letting yourself celebrate it, that's going to help you to shine. So how do we practice a rise and shine kind of perspective? Well, it's time for an end of year ritual. First of all, I want you to, one, identify the gap moments where you feel behind, where you feel like, oh, it's not as far as I'd hoped it would be, the places you feel frustrated. It's okay to look at it. You just don't want to get stuck there. So then we're going to look at it. Then two, we're going to reframe it. We're going to allow ourselves to see it a different way. So what could this experience be trying to teach me? Where within this experience have I already grown? What skill, awareness, or resilience have I been building? What has been built? You want to celebrate that. And you want to check in with yourself and say, what interpretation feels kinder, lighter? What perspective lights me up? What meaning helps me to move forward? So it's when we have another way to do this is in our personal relationships. Consider when you've been in relationship with someone and they have done something that you found disappointing and their response was just like way off kilter, like they acted as if nothing had happened. Perhaps you can try to see it from a different point of view because we don't all think the same. And there might be another way to look at it, or they might be going through a situation that you are not yet aware of. And so, what is the most gracious interpretation that you can give to a situation. Because if you always see people as evil, wrong, the wrongdoer, then it puts you in a negative space and it makes you feel icky inside. And honey, you got to walk around with you all the time. So leave room open in your heart to maybe there's another way to look at it and be open to that. And then go toward the thing that's going to help you move in joy, in happiness, in fulfillment, in gratitude. So if today's conversation helped you in any way, then I have something for you. It helped you to see and review the year a little bit differently, then great. I want you to consider doing a rise and shine reflection. I'm going to attach to the show notes today a rise and shine reflection guide, blending the scientific method of Dr. Benjamin Hardy's GAIN framework with sparkly prompts to help you think about how far you've come and help you close the year with clarity, gratitude, and empowerment. It's the same process I use with my clients to help them evaluate their own growth, release old stories, and step into the new year grounded, regulated, and feeling radiant. You can download your free Rise and Shine Reflective Guide at loriaharris.com. Rise in, and that's just the letter in, shine guide. And it's waiting for you in the show notes. Let's get going with this new year coming and rise differently, feel differently, shine unapologetically. And next time, my friends, we will be ready because all rise, all shine. It's your time to shine and you're ready for the next step. See you next time.